I'm going to share a story with you about my little books, and this is when I first wrote my first reflection book way back at the end of the 70s, start of the 80s, my first reflection book, and I was asked to speak down in Los Angeles. And it was a huge fundraiser for the, don't turn out too much of the lights, I like to see who's sleeping, so maybe you just leave it and who's leaving, I don't want anybody leaving. Anyways, if you can turn this back on, that would be great. Anyways, I was asked to speak there at a huge fundraiser. It was about 500 people at this really fancy place, and Rob Reiner from All in the Family was the other speaker. But every year they choose one author, and it was really neat as a Canadian. Here I was invited down. I'd never spoken at anything. My book had just come out. I was so scared. I drove my homemade camper down there that's all wood with stained glass windows, and I was a really long-haired guy. And so anyways, I get there, and it's so fancy, and I'm sitting up in front, and I'm in my bow tie. I always wear bow ties. And I had on my suspenders, I had Winnie the Pooh suspenders, and I was sitting out in front of the place, and all of a sudden the first car pulled up. Well, it's all these celebrities that are coming to this thing, and they drove this, the first car was 4 women all dressed up really fancy in their big fancy car. I'd never seen anything like it. And they got out and they came over to me sitting there. And I thought, well, they recognized me as this author from Canada. So, you know, I'm fixing my hair. And then so they come over, and then they say to me, the driver says, "Are you the valet parking guy?" So, you know, I'm pretty quick, so I said, "Yes, I am." So anyways, they gave me the keys to this car. I'm just to ride my bicycle or this old camper. They went inside. I parked this car. All of a sudden I think, now that was a great idea. So every car that pulled up, I said, "I'm the valet parking guy." So I started parking everybody's cars. By the time the event started, oh, actually, and one lady came running out because she heard there was no valet parking at the event. She thought I'd stolen her car. So she comes running out, and I said, "Don't worry, I'm just the guest speaker." She said, "Oh, fine." She went back in. So anyways, I was introduced to speak. I get up there in front, everybody's going like, "The valet parking guy." My pockets were full of keys. Spent my whole 45 minutes or whatever it was giving back everybody their keys. Anyway, that was my first experience. Thank you so much. I was in a store, actually. It was on here in Vancouver. It was on Granville Street, and I was in line, and I was next to this little elderly woman dressed in green, and I bent over and I said, "Wow, you look so beautiful today." And she didn't say anything. So I looked at her again, I bent over and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, you look so beautiful in that green outfit." And she said, "Are you talking to me? Nobody ever talks to us little gray-haired old ladies like that." And I said, "Yeah, no, you're beautiful." And here she was, she had her green outfit on with her hat, beautiful hat, her makeup, and just looked so beautiful, nice eyes, and then what happened was I ended up carrying her groceries home. If you're in a hurry, don't ever do that. So anyways, I carried her groceries home. We walked about 2 blocks. She turned to go in, and she says, "Do you know how old I am anyways?" And I said, "No, how young are you?" She says, "Well, I'm 90. And I said, so anyway, she went in. I had to go back to the store to get my stuff. I still haven't bought it yet. But you know, the thought that just overwhelmed me on the way back to the store was her whole day was to go to that store. She would have taken so long to put on that makeup, that outfit, that matching hat. She would have gone there and home, and none of us would have said hi to her. That could be anybody's mom. It just broke my heart to think that we're so afraid of each other we can't even say hi to each other on the street. And an earthquake happened in San Francisco. It's tragically 11 people were killed, but it was a natural disaster, something we couldn't do anything about. Somebody said to me, "Millions are dying there of loneliness. Something we can do something about." This family was sitting around at Christmas, and there was a little boy and a little girl. She was 5 and the parents. And the little 5-year-old they were opening the Christmas presents, and she wanted to open her present first. Or her dad to open her present first. So she said, Daddy, Daddy. She ran over with the present, this box, all wrapped, gave it to her dad. And her dad was really excited to get the present, and he started to open the Christmas present. He took off the outer wrapping, and then he opened the box. And inside there was nothing. And the father said to himself, holy moly, now what am I going to do? I need to teach my daughter that, you just don't give somebody nothing. And so he turned to his little daughter and he said, wow, I really appreciate the box and everything, but there's nothing in it. And at Christmas, it's really important that you give something to somebody. That's what it's all about. And with that, the little girl started to cry. And he said, what's the matter? And she said, but Daddy, there was something in it. Before I wrapped it, I blew 100 kisses in it. It's because I love you. The father had something to learn. That's why we all need to write. That's why when you go to schools, kids when they're 14 and 15, think about this one thought. When they're 14 or 15, they write in their journal, and they're the best writers. But they write in their journal and it's under lock and key. And when you think about it, isn't that silly that what we really feel is under lock and key? So I'm going to walk around as this different person, because I don't want anybody to know what's under that lock and key. And what kids need to see is that it's okay to be angry. We came here all as beautiful, precious little beings, and we lost touch with our heart because we were taught at an early age that something up there was going to make us happy. We lost that love of learning. Our homes became houses. We started wanting things all the time, and we lost touch with that little precious heart of ours. So we're all angry. But it's what we do with it. We need to scream into pillows or wring the towel. But what we do is take it out on other people or things, or we internalize it and we become suicidal and depressed. But we all feel these things. I used to be depressed for months on end. That's why I did my first bike trip, because I was very close to taking my life. And then I realized on that bike trip that I just lost touch with my beautiful little heart. And I saw that, we do so easily lose touch. So that's why I write. And that's why I love it if you pass it on. And that's why I encourage you to write. Write your book for yourself. Doesn't matter, if it touches you, that's where kindness begins, with being kind to ourselves. That's like, for me, I quit drinking and drugs 35 years ago because I needed to I wouldn't be alive right now if I didn't. But I numbed my depression. That's what they're doing down the downtown east side. They don't do drugs down there to get high like when I was getting high. They do it to numb feelings because they've been abused every day as a child. Fantastic. A lot of you wondered where I met Wilma or how I met Wilma. She's out in the front. She's in charge in front of the house. We've been together about 22 years. And we met, and it was interesting. She was traveling from Austria and spoke very little English. And she came over, and after 3 days, we ended up, just really hitting it off. She went back to Austria to get her things after 3 days to come back and be with me. And luckily, she doesn't have taste. I always say that her only weakness is her only weaknesses are taste in men. Anyways, she was coming over, she's coming back. We were getting another homemade camper. I was getting the new one built in Orcas Island down by Seattle. And she was flying into Seattle, and I was on this little island with the camper. These boat makers were building this camper. Anyways, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have anything like that. She spoke very little English. And she was coming over to see this guy she knew very little about, but she was just trusting. So she flies over, she's flying over, and I decide, I better get to the airport. And so I drive to the ferry, and there's a big long lineup. And I see a little ferry coming in off in the distance, and I ran up to the person in front of me, and I said, wow, how many cars can get in this ferry? And they said, well, it's a 100-car ferry. So I went counting everybody, and I was 104. So what I did, because she was never going to trust anybody again if she came over and nobody was there, and she, we didn't have any way to connect. And so I went to every car and I said, look, I finally got somebody that likes me after all these things. I have to explain everything, and I'm saying to everybody the whole story, how we met, she doesn't speak English, da, 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 da. She's from Austria, look, I need this date. I mean, it's more than a date, I'm about to do a 6-month tour of the States with my little reflection books. So anyways, I told everybody, and everybody, honestly, they pulled onto the ferry. I said, please just pull up as close to the person in front of you as you can. That's all I asked. They did it. I was the last car that was able to get on. Everybody was standing on the top level, cheering me on as I got on.